In this video, we got the Rlaarlo X12s, and we found this one on Amazon, and you know, we've had several RCs here from Amazon, and some of them have fared very well. This one is really popular on that site, and it makes sense because if you don't have a hobby store close to you or any of that kind of thing, and you're forced to go online, a lot of people don't know where to go to find the hobby grade ones. Technically, these are hobby grade, but still at the same time, they're not what you normally see on the channel here. So in this one, we're gonna get this one out of the box, and we're gonna go over it and see what you get in the box with the car. This is one we purchased right off of Amazon, and they brought it to the door just straight up. Now, there's promise for this one. At the same time, we're gonna get it out of the box, and we're gonna show you what you get. Then we're gonna take it out and we're gonna test it, and you know how that works. And then we're gonna bring it back in and ask our 4 questions, and we're not gonna hold anything back. Is it fun? Is it durable? Is it worth the money? And what's the total points here at the channel? Relarlo, you're up. Check this out. All right, so let's get this out of the box. Okay, right on top is the packet. Oh, interesting. Everything's hooked down right inside the box here. There we go. There's the radio. Okay, so it doesn't have the wing on it, but the wing is in the packet. It's gonna sit like that. That's gonna look pretty cool. Get that on there. So let's take a second and let's get this mounted. All right, so that looks pretty cool. Check that out. Isn't that neat looking? I mean, it's a buggy. It is a 4-wheel drive buggy, and it's got some girth to it. It's got some weight, which should mean it handled pretty good. It takes a certain amount of weight to make these things handle. So that's pretty good. But before we get into the car, let's see what came with it. All right, so this is what came in the packet. And although on the bench, it looks like quite a bit here, let's start with this. This is one of the most basic toolkits you'll get. Now, it does have some Allen wrenches. It has a wheel wrench. It has an extra pinion here, a little bit of servo tape, and that's about the size of it. So that's what you get there. If you're gonna do this at all, I really recommend upgrading from this to something a little more substantial. At the same time, it does come with some stickers. Okay, so that's kind of cool for personalization. And it has a charging system here for the battery. So this is one of those USB ones. Here, let's get it out of plastic here. So this is one of the USB chargers, and I'm not a fan of these, but in most cases they do work. Just make sure that you have enough power going into it so you don't burn it out by underpowering the unit. Make sure you have enough in there, and whatever wall wart you choose, in other words, power supply for this, Make sure it has enough snort so it doesn't overheat. Okay, beside that, and that's everything there, this is all that's left. And that one sheet is your entire manual for this thing. It does have the part numbers, and it does have some of the breakdown on it, which will be helpful. But on the back, it's just got warnings in as many languages as you can imagine. So that's all that's on the back. Basically, what it comes down to is this one side is all you get. Now, beyond that, it does come with the radio, and the transmitter is small. It does fit in the hand. It feels tiny to me, and I have big hands, but it feels tiny to me. But I think when you get it up and you're playing, just change your grip a little. I might be able to forget it's in my hand. It will have to wait and see, but still at the same time, it's got some interesting controls on the top. So it does have a dial right at the bottom, and that's how you adjust your speed up and down. You can go from 0 to 100% with that one knob. Then it's got buttons for your trim and whatnot, and then it's got channel 2 and 4 right there, and your on switch is right there. As far as the controller itself, it actually is heavier than it looks. It has kind of a nice feel to it. We'll have to see how it holds up. All right, so let's have a look at the car itself. And one, this has a real traditional, buggy style to it, and it's substantial. It's got an aluminum chassis. It feels real when you pick it up. It doesn't feel plasticky and toy-like. It does have the same bolt-on front piece as a lot of them, and the body is eerily reminiscent to another brand, which I'm not going to mention, but at the same time, it's got the battery and it's got a 3S in it, and it sticks pretty good for what it is. So let's get the body off, and of course it just has regular hood clips, just a shell, there's nothing more to it. But if you look inside, you've got a 3600 kV motor in here, 3S battery, 45 amp speed control. This has some good stuff in the right places. I don't know about the drivetrain. I like the look of the tires. Everything looks really good and substantial. So with that all behind us, there's only one thing left to do. Let's take this out and test it. Check this out. All right, so here we are. We're out at my favorite running spot here, and we're getting ready to run this thing. There's nobody out here today. This is gonna be so much fun. Just a beautiful day all the way around. Let's see what this thing can do.
That was cool. This is quick. Whoa.
Well, that's not good. All right, so there's the running footage for the Rlaarlo X12s, and this one's not new. It's been out for a while, but it's new to the channel here, and we don't care how long something's been out. If it's interesting, we get it in and we see what it can do. This one, I like buggies, I do. I think buggies are awesome. It's like flying a lawn dart on the ground. It's just so cool to do. At the same time, this one did fair. You know, it controlled fairly well for what it is. But before we get into the handling of the car and all that good stuff, let's ask the $100,000 question. What was the noise that came out of it at the end? And it sounded really bad, and it was. But it could have been worse. So what we wound up with is, this is the pinion, and I'll get you a close-up view of this. This is the pinion that was installed in it, and this is the small one. There was a slightly larger one that came in the packet. This is the one that was installed in the car, and when it was installed, the gap wasn't set correctly. So at the beginning, it was a little bit noisy, and that's just the way that goes. It was a little bit on the noisy side, but it was functioning, so we went ahead and run it. Now, just to reiterate how this works for us, We run things the way they come out of the box, and here's the reason for that. When you run them the way they come out of the box, this is an RTR, okay? Now this is a ready to run. That says it right on the box, this is ready to go, and that's how we test these. We don't wrench on them, we run them. Now it's the same deal. If you take this into full scale and you go out and buy a pickup, are you gonna go out in the parking lot and check all the lug nuts before you drive it home? We don't do that. Well, think about it this way. A new person to the hobby, which is what this channel's geared towards, a new person to the hobby is going to get this for Christmas, for example, or get it for a birthday or what have you. They're going to throw the battery on the charger, they're going to poke it in the car, and they're going to go out in the driveway and play with it. Period. They're not going to know what to do with it. They don't have the experience that we do. That being said, that's the reason we run them the way we do. We get these out of the box and run them, and we let you know what they're good for and all that good stuff, but we also rely on factory quality control to make sure that these are done correctly. When they come out of the box, it says ready to run. Therefore, that's the way we rate these. So this one, the gearing was a little bit bad and it ate the pinion. Okay, that was easily fixed, so that wasn't a big deal, but it will still count against it. Okay, so all of that behind us, the handling on this was, I would go with fair on that. It handled pretty good overall, but what I did notice was with the speed control, it kind of had a staggered lift each time. So it was exponential. Each time you pull the trigger a little more, and I'll show you what we did again in the rev test, but when you pull the trigger smoothly back, you can hear it stage up. So it wasn't a smooth ascension, it had kind of a step deal to it. It's like first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, kind of a weird, that's just the way that speed control in this thing works. Okay, that's fine and everything, but it did affect handling a little bit, and since this has such a short wheelbase, and it's pretty short, I mean it really is for what it is, but this is 12 scale, so it's small. But with a short wheelbase like this, it does like to swap ends. Now you can control that, but you have to be exceptionally easy on the throttle to do so, especially in loose conditions like we run. So throttle control becomes exceptionally important when you're running something like this in the dirt, because that's just the way it works. So it's a bit sketchy in the handling department, but hey, it could be worse. One thing I did like about it, however, is it's got some of the coolest parts in the right places. So if you look right here in the front, and I'll get you a close-up of this too, it's got aluminum hinge pin blocks up front. Now that's really important because a lot of these come with plastic components up here with just a small aluminum strip in there. But with these aluminum hinge pin braces in there, it gives you the strength you need. Keep in mind that these things move forward most of the time. So when you catch something like you hit anything, hit it and it stops it, it puts all that pressure on these two blocks. This comes from the factory with the aluminum blocks, and what's really cool is the build on this. Now, if you take a really good look at it, one of the things that's different is it doesn't exactly have the same kind of chassis braces, but they're in there. It has the aluminum shock towers, it's got the aluminum chassis, and it's built a lot like some of the top-end brands. It really is. I really am impressed with the build of it. I just really wish the gearing hadn't done what it did. Other than that, it was pretty good. And it did come with the 3S battery. So it has battery, charger, and RC. All those are pretty good points. And I will say this much. The shock absorbers, these little aluminum shock absorbers work well. Even with the battery in it, it sticks when you drop it and it handles like it when it's out running. So the shock system, everything in there, with all the punishment we put on it, and I know this looks clean like it's a new one out of the box, this is the one from the video, and still, the suspension is working perfectly. I'm really impressed with how this thing is working in that regard. All of the top braces, everything in there, there's no damage on any of it, and we didn't hold anything back. However, having said all of that, there's a few things we need to discuss about this, and we already went over the why we run them the way we do. Now we got to tell you what happened with it. Now, in the first battery, this is battery number 1, it was running pretty good. It was a little noisy on the gearing, but everything was holding up fine, and it spit off a wheel. So we lost this one. No, which one did we lose? We lost this one. And it has a different colored nut now because we lost the nut out in the field, and that put an end to that whole run. That was really sucky. It was not cool. These are small. I don't carry a lot of parts with me for these things when we're out running. So this required a trip back to the studio to repair it. During that time on the bench, we checked all 4 wheels and every single one of them was loose. Now I understand that after things run in a little bit, you would expect things to loosen up. But halfway through the first battery, come on. This, and yes, you could argue you should have checked them, but you know how we do things here. It comes out of the box and it gets run. If I had a nephew that was running this and he lost his lug nut in the grass, he'd be down till he bought a new one. So that's not a good thing. And we talked about the gearing issue. That finally shut things down to where we had to come back, tear everything apart and get it fixed. We had the motor out and everything, trying to make sure everything was the way it should be to get it fixed so we could run it some more. And we did that at the same time. Both of those issues, well, they're going to count against it because each time it put a stop to the fun. And one more thing, if you read into the manual and you look at the box and all that stuff and you get as much information as you can on this RC, this is splash resistant, okay? Not waterproof, splash resistant. So you're not going to want to run this anywhere where you're going to get moisture all over it, none of that stuff. You want to be really careful with it because although you could take a splashing, if this thing gets water running through the chassis, it's not built for that. This is built to be splash resistant. So nowadays, just about everything comes from the factory waterproof. Not this one. So let's get on with our 4 questions. And if you watch the channel, you know what they are. Is it fun? Is it durable? Is it worth the money? And what's the total points here at the channel? Well, you know, I was really interested in this because when we were looking through Amazon, we were trying to see what people were buying. And this one gets purchased a lot on Amazon. There's a couple other ones, and we're doing a series on that right now. This is the first one in the series, but at the same time, is this thing fun? Okay, well, when it's running, as long as it hangs on to all its parts and as long as you work the throttle correctly, yes, this thing's an absolute beast to play with. It's fun, it's durable, it does what you expect it to. You just want to do that pre-flight checklist. Make sure everything is set right. Make sure all of your lug nuts are tight. Make sure everything is good to go before you go out and play with it. But we can't bend to that. We did have these failures. So in this one, we're going to give this one 7 out of 10 for fun because when you have to stop what you're doing and go wrench on it, it really puts a damper on things. And question number 2, is this thing durable? Well, I really want to say yes, it's durable, and it is for the most part. The suspension held up good. Everything held up good except for the gearing and except it couldn't hold on to its wheels to get started. Now, I am going to dock it for both of those because it did cut into how the car was running. It did require wrenching to fix it. So for this one, we're going to give it 8 out of 10 for durability. But it is really strong in the right places. That 8 out of 10 shouldn't diminish the fact that all of the running gear on the externals, the arms, the shocks, the shock towers, the chassis, everything stayed the way it was supposed to. Still, 8 out of 10. And question number 3, value. Is this thing worth the money? It is worth the money. It is. Coming in at a solid $159 from Amazon, this little guy right here has a lot of things that you don't get with the other stuff. It has a genuine 3S battery with it. It has brushless system inside of it. It's built tough. It's got the aluminum chassis. Everything on it is amazing. It seems a little higher end, even the radio, okay? So I'm not a fan of the small ones. Everybody that watches the channel knows that, but this has a real carbon fiber feel to it. It's got some weight to it, just like the car. It's got some girth to it. This has some weight to it too, and it feels, good Lord, it almost feels luxurious in the hand when you're not really thinking much about it. It's just there. I don't really care for the texture on the knob and whatnot, but there's some weight in the radio. All of that counts. At the same time, you get the battery, the charger, the RC. You do need to buy 4 AA batteries for the transmitter, but other than that, you get everything you need to use this thing. And we did use the charger that came in the box, and it worked out perfectly. For that, we're going to go ahead and give this one 9 out of 10 for value because it really is a good value. And I hate to say it, but if you're a premium member, you might be able to get it overnight. And question number 4, what's the total points here at the channel? Well, with all things weighed out and considered, we're gonna give this one a solid 24 out of 30. And I really think it could have done better. If their quality control was a little more on point, this would have done much better. You know, you never know where your inspiration is gonna come from. And just digging through Amazon and seeing what people are buying there, it seems like we were missing out on something. And now that we've tested this one, I would say that's probably accurate. Now, I hope everything we test from there comes out this well, considering this is the first video in the series for what's hot on Amazon. But at the same time, we're not sponsored by anybody. We are just doing this because we want to. And if you're missing out on something, the only way to find out if you're missing out is to get in there and do it. So if you haven't already, don't forget to bash that like button and help our content spread. You know, we really do love doing this kind of thing, and this hobby can be really addictive. If you've got a personality that likes to collect things and stuff like that, this one can be a problem. It really can. We have 80 plus RCs here now. We've been doing this forever though, so that kind of explains that, but I still get new ones all the time because you go into the store and you see it and you go, I gotta have that one, it's so cool. Well, that's kind of the thing, and you have to watch out for that. If you have that, I don't know, failing in your personality, if you collect things, get ready to make room in your home because you're gonna have more than one of these things. I can almost guarantee it. If you have anything you'd like to add to this video, please feel free to get down in the comments and help others along the way. For AJ Jam Studios, I'm AJ saying, keep bashing.